Um, Today, I would like to talk about some of the things that I independently kept an eye on when I got into the field of ABA and expanded my networking and community in the field of ABA. So I wanted to share with you today, and I hope hopefully it will kind of enlighten us today with regards to what's going on in the region, how can we support behavior analysts and the field of ABA in the region. So at first, I would like to talk about my main points that I will cover today. First is the current overview of ABA in the United Arab Emirates, challenges faced by BACBs working in the Middle East. Then I would like to share some of my considerations and future perspectives that I would like to share it with all our attendees today. First of all, when I was looking at the BACB website, I realized that we have increased the numbers of certified personnel in the field of ABA. We currently have 627 BACB certificants registered in the United Arab Emirates, which is awesome to see. Now, only 4 of them are BCBAD, 121 are BCBAs, and BCABAs 31, and RBTs 477. So we have a big bunch of RBTs, getting those RBTs in order for them to work in centers. This gives us a nice hint that families and centers are looking for quality ABA to ensure that they meet the minimum standards. Now, while I was, keeping an eye with all my friends setting up their own centers, there has been increase as well. There are 37 centers that have certified individuals overseeing ABA programs. Approximately 37 centers that I know of at least. And I always have to check if they have, board certified behavior analysts in the floor, making sure that the therapists are being supervised, which is an amazing thing that we want to see going forward. That more certified, qualified individuals with a master's program to be a master's degree, to be on the floor, observing the kids, observing the therapists, applying the evidence-based practices. So this is amazing. I'm really, really proud of this. Now we do have a graduate program in ABA thanks to the supporters, Dr. Michelle Kelly and the team in the Emirates College of Advanced Education, setting up the first degree in applied behavior analysis. There is a 1-year postgrad diploma in ABA and a 2-year master's in education in ABA, and coming soon, a 4-year PhD program in ABA. So that's super exciting news for the field in ABA in the region. They deliver it in 2 campuses, in Abu Dhabi and in Ajman. Now, what about policies, national licensing? We're getting there. Recently, Abu Dhabi Department of Community Development have created a social care professional licensing, which covers 5 social care professions. One of them is applied behavior analysts. And this shows that how the UAE has found that applied behavior analysis is one of the prominent field in applying evidence-based practices for individuals that can use it for تطوير skills, to get their skills developed. And we have other of our friends here, psychologists, psychotherapists, social workers, and counselors. So this is one of the great things, a step forward towards licensing behavior analysts. As you know, with the popularity of the behavior analysis technique, people are looking for individuals that are using this applied behavior analysis. However, this comes with it many challenges, such as scammers, and such a step towards licensing is so important to ensure that we separate those that have met the minimum requirements versus the ones that have not. This, of course, will protect the science, will protect the stakeholders, will protect the families and the children, and the ones that are receiving qualified behavior analysis services. Now let's look at closer look at the ADDCD ABA licensing here. Of course, I'm not sure if you can see this properly, but I've put the website up in here to reference it. As you can see here, there are three different types of licensing, which I'm really happy to see. We have a professional license with a doctorate level, in which their education qualification should be in a doctorate degree in ABA, in addition to passing the profession test from one of the professional association accredited in the specialty, and they do recognize the BACB as a professional associations. Practical experience, they're looking for 1,500 hours of training under the supervision of a specialized professional, and you have to show the proof that you did have that 1,500 hours, or that you are certified by that association, meeting those requirements. CPD hours for renewal is 20 hours per year, and then the license renewer, as you can see, is 24 months from date of issue. The Applied Behavior Analyst Professional License, this is where the master's degree, as I do have the master's degree in Applied Behavior Analysis. I recently got licensed by the ADDCD, and they also had accepted my BACB certification to ensure that I have met the requirements to practice applied behavior analysis. Then we have the bachelor or diploma of applied behavior analysis, and this will come under the ones that have completed their bachelor's in ABA, and that they have also passed the professionals accredited in the specialty. Now, for UAE nationals, there are some, linear for that. It's the same requirements, except that they're not required to have that practical experience, so they would get the licensing and then work directly with the ones and with the supervision, I would presume. Now, other authorities are also creating licensures depending on the Emirates. So we have in Dubai the Community Development Authority. They too have a licensing for social professionals, and one of them is they come under the social therapist, behavior analyst, assistant behavior analyst, psychologist, or assistant psychologist, as it's highlighted in yellow. A closer look at CDC's licensing requirements. They too are looking for behavior analysts with a master's in psychology or education with behavior analysis specializations. The assistants, so they have two different licensing here. The assistant behavior analyst would be a bachelor degree in psychology or education or nursing with applied behavior analysis, completion of behavior analysis program. So it was interesting for me to see that licensing, pathway that the leaders here are doing fantastic to ensure that they protect the stakeholders in ensuring the people that are applying behavior analysis are licensed and they meet the requirements of international professional accreditations. Now there's so many initiatives coming up, and that means that more and more people are interested in the science of behavior analysis. As we mentioned earlier, the ABA Journal Club was recently established by volunteers, and I was one of them with a few of my colleagues, Manal Ayani, BCBA, Nusayb Al-Meheri, BCBA. So the aim of the ABA Journal Club was basically reviewing articles and encouraging students and professionals in the field or professionals outside the field to learn more about the recent published research that meets the 7 dimensions of ABA. Then we have the ABI affiliated chapter, the ABA UAE chapter, which is also registered with Dubai Association Center. So this is a huge milestone that not only it's affiliated chapter by ABAI, but also it is recognized or registered with a government entity, which is Dubai Association Center. And the people that are running the ABA UA chapter is Dr. Michelle Kelly, the president, myself, President-elect Nipa Bubtani, the treasurer, Linda Bailey, secretary, and Adil Anis Wahdain, he is the student representative. We have other initiatives going around. Some of them, are on Facebook groups, independent CEU lectures, and so on. And we're seeing those kind of activities popping more throughout these years, to be honest. And this only shows that ABA is becoming more and more needed and asked for to ensure we know more about it in a more professional way. Now let's look at some of the challenges faced by BACBs working in the Middle East. I personally created an independent research, which was one of the things that I was just interested in to see how are my fellow friends that are practicing ABA in the region. What are the things that they're facing? So I decided to start a independent research, very simple, through Google survey since 2018 to learn more about the practice of ABA in the Middle East by BACB certificants that are from the Middle East region. Now, I had 64 responses accumulated to understand the needs of professional development and the impact of culture as well, and other concerns that has been shared. And I would like to share it with you today. Now, here are some of my results my humble results, I have to say. Now, it was interesting to see that the number of participants have increased since 2 years. And we had a total of 64 participants coming from a range of different levels. We have BCBADs, BCBAs, BCABAs, and RBTs. Now, where those people came from, they're from all over the region. We had Algeria, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. They were all super excited to share their experience with me. And I'm so grateful for every one of them to be part of this. Now, I was really interested to know if they were participant, did they speak and write Arabic? So here are some of the answers. We had yes, they did speak, no, they did not speak or write, and only spoke the language. So we had the majority of the participants did speak and write Arabic. But then you can see on the other side of the slide is that I was interested to see, is it difficult to explain applied behavior analysis in Arabic? And so we can see yes and no. Not many people were, 59% said no, it wasn't difficult to explain ABA in Arabic, but some did have that challenges. So what does that mean to me? I felt like this means that we need to put more effort in Arabic resources. So I thought that was very interesting to see whether this will help alleviate some of the stress that is faced by the BACBs certificants. Now, I really wanted to know some of the challenges I've heard around in the region. So here's some of the answers, and that was a multiple choice to choose, which of the categories they felt they face challenges in. Now, the majority of them, if I can say, is that the client accepts and implements the environmental conditions that are necessary for the behavior change program to be effective. So, most of the programs that BACBs would put together, they found it difficult that a lot of the clients found it challenging to implement them in different environmental conditions to see those behavior changes to happen. So what does that mean? We need to be better in creating easy implemented programs for the clients. Now, the next was the client except using reinforcement instead of punishment. Again, this reflects back to our culture. So behavior analysis, as you know, we're focused on the principles of reinforcement more than using punishment. But as you can see, many of them, they found that it was challenging, that they need to convince the clients that instead of using punishment, let's look into reinforcement. And that shift was quite challenging, as some of the families found that the culture of punishment was prominent in their families. We also looked at the number 4, which was the next highest, obtaining the client's written approval of the behavior change program before implementation or making significant modifications. So this is an important ethical, I think, ethical, step to take towards having that approvals from the families. The second was involving the clients in planning and consent. As many behavior analysts found it challenging to convince the families to be part of the planning and to be part of the consent of this. Okay, thank you so much. Let me move on to the next. So here's some of the culture barriers that impacted the effectiveness of the program. We found that there is an inconsistency in behavior change application at the home environment, which then again may impact the progress of the client that we were working with. Reliance on nannies was the second highest culture challenge barrier for effective behavioral change programs. I just noticed that we have 5 more minutes. The next was basically fat treatments was used, so few of the families were, the certificants at least were saying that they relied more on non-evidence fat treatments, than behavioral evidence-based practices. Now, when I looked into what would they like to look as certificants, what are the topics that they would like to learn more of? The highest amount was the topic on the puberty in autism, which means that we need more practice and more trainings in the adolescence of individuals on the autism spectrum, which tells us a lot about people that are based in the region and the needs of practice and developing their skills. The next was conducting research. As we know, it's so important to conduct research in the region. However, many of them felt that they needed some support on how to conduct research, which easily could be easily fixed in this sense with universities popping up now. So maybe universities need to look into that when they are graduating their students in the future. Now, other topics for professional development that they felt they needed help in was OBM, in graphing, feeding disorders, using ABA for children with ADHD, precision teaching, using RFT, managing severe aggressive behaviors that are life-threatening for others, teaching academic skills using ABA, and other challenges that they need is some protocols to establish an ABA center. Other challenges, which was very interesting, that also I heard the theme while we're in today's symposium, that some people claim themselves as behavior analysts without getting the proper training, or dependency on non-evidence-based practices. Some seldomly follow BACB ethical practices in the ABA centers, which also affects the quality of ABA. Some of them misuse the RBT 40 hours training. So yes, I know a lot of centers and universities are doing those RBT trainings, but you want to look into the ethics behind practicing as an RBT without supervision. And with the upcoming changes of the BACB, we really need to think about whether we continue those the 40 hours or not. The lack of Arabic ABA resources, as everyone knows, and we continue to a lot of that. Inaccuracy of ABA terms. Someone noticed that there are some inaccuracy in the ABA terms in the BACB websites. So that could be also, we can create a second version of this. And I think also the importance of the difference between ABA and behavior modification, as ABA is, it's becoming more popular, and a lot of people are getting confused, not just within the families, but even within the, leaders and politicians. So just making sure that we're also clear in what we're doing would really help decision makers in the future. And I hope, as people also mentioned today, the lack of financial support to cover ABA service was a big one. And hopefully we'll see insurances covering for the behavior analysis services in the region. And lastly, I would like to wrap up with some of my considerations and future perspectives. I would like to see more creating a licensing across the country rather than just across each emirate, to ensure that we have a unified, uh, unified milestones for each for each certificate, creating accrediting body to meet the specific needs to the delivery of behavior analysis. Now, we trust the behavior analysts that are opening ABA centers to be up to the benchmarks of that, but having an accredited body to ensure that they meet those specifications. Ensuring that we have a high quality fieldwork practice for graduates is a very important part, and hopefully in the future we'll see financial support of ABA services, as well as professional development in relation to collaboration with different entities and professionals to understand how the behavior analysis can help rather than compete with other professionals. And thank you so much for listening. And please do follow my Instagram, as I'm very active on Instagram. And this is my email for anyone that would like to email me for any questions. Thank you so much.